Midterm is scored as follows. We're doing stacked walls, 3 stacked walls. So I'm going to take a look at how well you've assembled your components that go into the stacked wall. And if you didn't do any at all, you'll get 0 points for the midterm. If you did it well, but not perfectly, 3 points. And if you did it very well, then the total possible score of 4. Also, put the levels in correctly. The same scoring goes. 0 if you didn't put your levels in. 1.5 points if you're competent. In other words, you did it well, but not well enough. And then finally, if you did it properly, 2 points. The title block, again, if you don't put in a title block, then 0 points. If your title block is competent, then you'll get 1.5 points. And if it's proficient, if it's well done, you'll get 2. So basically, I don't really see how you either did it or you didn't really. It's either you're going to get the points for it or you're not. If you don't have a title block, you get 0. If you have a title block, you get 2 points. And then we need the assembly list, which is all of the different wall types that you need to make in order to create your stacked walls. You need to show me the assembly list of those different wall types. And you have to submit this, submit your work in a PDF format. You submit it in. I will not even open it up to take a look at it. It sounds maybe a little severe, but I work in Revit 2023. You're working in Revit 2024, so I couldn't open it even if I wanted to. So let's take a look here. This is the assembly list that I'm looking for each wall type. So as you make it each wall type, you'll also be creating this assembly list, and I want to see it. I have given you the thicknesses of all of the walls. So of all of the walls types that need to be made. So you can check that to make sure that you're correct by simply, Revit will tell you what the total thickness of the wall that you've made is, and you can compare that with the thicknesses of all of the wall types that I've given. And if they're not exactly this dimension that needs to be for the different wall type, then go back and double check your work. So we really want to make sure that you pay attention to the Revit will add up all of these thicknesses and tell you what the total thicknesses of the walls. Now, when we talk about the title block, if you submit your title block without a name on it, it's as if you didn't do it, because I can't give you credit, and I won't give you credit if you do not have your name on the title block. So if we scroll down to the example here, these are the 2 sheets that I'll be looking for. That we'll be creating 3 stacked walls made up of the components of different wall types and of these level heights. So in here, you need to put your name. If I don't find your name on the sheet, then I will not be assigning any credit for that. So going back up to this handout, which you will receive for the beginning of the midterm, which you will use this as your guide. You will make these necessary levels. So bottom of basement wall, grade, top of basement wall, first floor, top of first floor wall, second floor, top of second floor wall. And then I would like you to assemble those or distance those with these proper dimensions. You can do the math. You can use the level elevations to change your elevations relative to the other ones. But as we indicated or demonstrated in class many times, the best way to do that is simply to make your levels, name them appropriately, and then put some dimensions in there. Remember to move an object using the dimension. You click on the object that you want to move. That will activate the dimension. and then you can change the numerical value of that dimension, and Revit will move the object that you've selected in order to satisfy the dimension that you want. If you were to, I see many students click on the dimension to try to change it, but if you think about it, if you're changing this dimension, Revit doesn't know. There's two ways that this dimension can change. One is that this level can move. The other is that this level can move. So Revit wouldn't know which level you want to move if you simply told it to change this dimension. So that's why we click on the object first. That activates the dimension. And then you change the dimension, and it will move the object that you've selected to satisfy that dimension. And do that, probably the best way to do that is start at the bottom and work your way up in order to satisfy these dimensions. And if I were taking this exam, this midterm, this is what I would do first, is make my levels. And you know that you can go to any elevation in Revit, north, south, east, or west, and you'll see the levels, and then modify and add the level so that it satisfies these height requirements. So that will be the levels there. That would be step one. Step two would be simply to make these wall types. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 9 wall types that you need to make based upon these materials. And when you're finished making the wall type, then what you want to do is double check that the dimension that I've given you here is the same as you see in that particular wall type up here. And if it is, you're in good shape. That's step two. Now, creating the levels, we have 3 hours and 20 minutes. The exam opens at 12 o'clock. And it finishes at 3:20. So you must have printed and submitted in PDF form to the groups area in the folder for a midterm on or before 3:20 on Friday. If you don't have a timestamp of 3:20, if your timestamp is 3:21 or 3:22, I won't look at your midterm. So you want to make sure that you leave yourself time to print and double check what you've printed to make sure that it shows your work. If you submit something that doesn't show your work to me, I will not be able to give you credit for it. Even though you've done the work, if you don't put it on the PDF and it doesn't come up correctly, you could be in well, you would be in a bad place, because I'm evaluating your work based upon your PDF submission. So levels should be the first thing you would want to attack, and that's how I would do it in this if I were taking the midterm. So I would make my levels first, and that should, if you know what you're doing, in less than 5 minutes, you should be able to create these levels. If you don't know what you're doing, 3 hours and 20 minutes might not be enough just to do this part. Secondly, the second step is that I want to start making these wall types, and take an existing wall, edit the structure, duplicate it, call it wall A, and give it these characteristics. Then duplicate this one, call it wall B, and give it these characteristics. And then the same thing, duplicate this wall, call it wall C, give it these characteristics. Duplicate this one, wall D, same thing, all the way across. And I would say that if you're really proficient at this, this might take you a half an hour, maybe an hour. If you don't know what you're doing, then 3 hours and 20 minutes won't be enough time. So that's part two. Now, once you've made all of these walls, you should at least have, if you know what you're doing, you should have at least an hour, 2 hours left to go to create these. So I've indicated each one of these walls in a larger scale so that you can see them, so that there's no question about what has to happen in each of these walls, how they have to be made. And then we need to stack those walls. So you'll take the stacked wall, duplicate it, give it a new name, call it midterm wall, stacked wall A, midterm stacked wall B, midterm stacked wall C, and then give it these properties. So you're going to take and put wall F on top of wall E, and that on top of D, on top of C, B, and A, and then give them these heights. Okay, so that would be the one stacked wall. Then what I would do is duplicate this one and call it midterm stacked wall B, change it so that you have I instead of B, H instead of C, G instead of D, and E and F would be exactly the same. Make sure that it has these wall heights, and then duplicate that and change it so that we have wall A, B, and D. So A, you're going to have on all three of your stacked walls. This one will change a little bit, and this is wall D, and it satisfies that height right there. Then put those three stacked walls on a sheet. This would be a section cut through there. Make sure that you show your work in fine resolution. If you show it in coarse resolution, I won't be able to see adequately the walls because I won't be able to see all the materials that you have inside of the walls. So here are your levels. That's what you want for your levels. And look, I'll be looking for this wall fitting in this height, this wall fitting in this height. And so if your submission looks like mine, you're in really good shape. If it doesn't look like this, there'll be some point penalties for that. Then the final thing, of course, after you've made your walls, after your individual wall types, and after you've made your stacked walls, then show me the components that you've put into each of those walls, A, B, C. They do have a name up here, so this is an example. These are all exactly the same wall types. I'm showing that as an example, but you would want to show your different wall types. Now, if you've labeled it up here as wall type C, you don't really have to put a label down here, but that's the idea that I'm looking for your submissions. So it's really two sheets. This one, which is the sheet which shows your stacked walls, and this one, which shows the components. I only need two sheets to be submitted. You don't have to make these, because I can take a look at your wall types here in order to see if you've created them successfully or not. So I'll be posting this on Thursday, the 2nd of November, as a video on YouTube, so you can see that as a tutorial how to successfully execute the midterm. As far as prepping for that, I would make a new project. I would make sure that I have my title blocks made, and I would make sure that my name is on the title block, and I would have these levels created, ready to go. And then you'll be able to start executing the midterm. That would save you time rather than starting with a new project at the beginning of class. Have yourself prepared by having those components satisfied. And let's see, I think that's about it. I wish you all good luck on that, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube that show how to create stacked walls. The more videos you watch, and the more practice you do in creating stacked walls, the more successful I think you will be on your midterm. Good luck.